Us. Hey, everybody. Thanks for
Okay.
tuning in to Scent with Christian Holst. But here's something really cool. This isn't just me. Nate Parrish is here, and we get the opportunity of interviewing Cliffy Huntington. And he is an amazing guitarist, singer, songwriter with the Huntingtons, and his career spanning 30 years. I remember
Oh,
listening
it's
to
more
him
than
in
that,
college.
man. Yeah, me and Mike got to started in '92. Our first album was '96. So, well, yeah, it would be 30. It would be 30 years since of releases. So, yes, that is
Yeah,
correct.
so that's why I
30
knew it
years.
was
You're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
30 years of listening to your music and
Yep.
hearing songs like Pool Party and Fun and
Yeah.
Games, 1985. So you've had a big effect on me as a Christian punk. And I know from Nate's perspective, his guitar playing um, was influenced by you. So,
Yeah.
what first drew you into the realm of punk music?
All my favorite hair bands went away, and I realized that Green Day was pretty much just Poison without the guitar solos, and that's really what drew me in. In all honesty, when you hear what was the song, what was it on what was it? I want action, but what is Longview,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Longview.
Longview.
That's the
Hmm.
one, right? So I was listening to Longview, and I realized I heard Longview, and I was that's I want action, but without the guitar solos. And obviously, it was a different kind of aggression and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, all right, well, all my favorite music's gone, but I can do this. I can, and it's funny because years earlier, my brother was like, "You got to get into the Ramones, man. You got to get into the Ramones." And me and my brother, we were always very segmented. He listened to his music, and I listened to my music, and for me, and I think for a lot of people will identify with this, siblings are on different paths. We're on totally different paths. You have different friends, you have different music, you have different everything. And there's pretty much very little cross pollination, very little. And
Yeah.
so my brother was 120 minutes and I was Headbangers Ball, and that's just all there was to it. I didn't want to hear if my brother brought it to me, I wasn't interested automatically. So he brought the Ramones to me, believe it or not, when I was a kid, and I was just like, get out of here, because it was just coming from my brother. I just didn't want to hear it. So what actually got me into the Ramones was the fact that when I was listening to Green Day, um, then it was Green Day. And then what got me into Green Day was the fact that I was made some demo tapes, and a friend of mine said, "You sound like Green Day," which we didn't at all. But then that made me go, and this was before they broke big, and so then I got Kerplunk, and then the one before that, and I was like, "This doesn't sound anything. What are they talking about?" But anyway, I was then I was listening to that bunch, and then I realized I was picking up, because back then I'm gonna be all over the place with my interviews because this is just how I am. But, and then I was listening. I was going through, because back then, there wasn't any way to discover music. You're just standing around in record stores and tape CD stores is what it was back then, and you're just going through stuff. And so I happened upon this band, Screeching Weasel, and oh my gosh, this one album there was Mike Dirnt on the on as one of the guys in the band, and I was like, well, I gotta get this. So I got this Screeching Weasel album called How to Make Enemies and Irritate People. And I was like, this is awesome. This is even better than Green Day. So I really got into Screeching Weasel. Really got into Screeching Weasel way more than I was into Green Day. Of course, all these bands were always talking about the Ramones all the time, especially Screeching Weasel had their album that was all Ramones covers. And then it became this big deal with all these all these bands always had to do Ramones covers, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So me and Mikey, singer of the Huntingtons, we really heavily got into all those bands. So, we just are well, I don't know, I should probably save some room for you to ask some questions. So I'll stop there. Anyway,
Yes, sir.
so
That's
it just
funny.
it just went from there. So I
That's
I
funny that
just
you mentioned
I
that.
can just I can just talk through all this and you won't even ask any questions. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned the Green Day, like, oh, we sound like Green Day, and you're like, no, we don't. But that's what people thought of as like
Right.
punk or whatever at the time. When I
Yeah.
was introduced to punk, it was Social Distortion, because I had a friend who bought white light, white heat, white trash.
Right.
And he's like, dude, do you want this CD? These guys are trying to rip off Green Day.
That's how stupid is that?
I know. And I was like, oh, lame. And when I listened to it, I was like, first of all, they don't sound like Green Day at all. And then you do, you look at the liner notes, you do the research. And I was like, these guys have been around since 77.
Right.
And that's what sent me on the trajectory. And Ramones always like everyone thanks Ramones. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's funny that you mentioned.
And it's funny too, because then when you go down that rabbit hole and then you realize that the Ramones had no idea about this whole '90s bands, all the like the lookout bands that were doing the Ramones thing. They had no clue about it, and they were like the bands that they thought they influenced were like Pearl Jam and all these bands that sounded nothing like them. It was just like so crazy. Like they were just like had no. It's just very, very, very weird. Yeah, I know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
I remember back in the day, you go to a Christian bookstore and they'd have this weird poster and it would say, if you like this band, you're going to like this band. And there would always be these odd comparisons, and you would buy the CD and you'd be like, no, not even close.
I know.
Every once in a while, there was one that was pretty close, but it was few and far between. You brought up the Ramones. You actually got to play with Johnny.
Yes.
On his very
Joey, not Johnny. I never even met Johnny, which was the sadness of my life that I never got to meet Johnny because he was my favorite guy in the band. My whole guitar playing is patterned after him. But yes, Joey.
Joey, sorry. But
it's okay.
You got to actually play a full set with him. What was he like?
Super kind, unbelievably kind, just super, super nice. I mean, however how you saw him in interviews and any video clips of him talking, that's exactly what he was like in real life. Anytime that I saw him. So, I mean, so when I say real life, I just mean the times that I got to be around him. I never was like walking around in New York City, hanging around him like, hey, it wasn't like that. I played with him at CBGB's twice. So,
well, I got to see one of the times you played with him online, and you did an amazing job. But
I assure you, it was much cooler in person.
How stressed were you, or was it?
No, I wasn't stressed because we were all in this magic land of holy crap, I can't believe this happened. This is happening, but you have to remember we were in our prime at this point. So we were hyped up beyond belief, but we were also kind of on our pills of self-confidence, of the time period in our career of every kid that was our fan always telling us that we were the greatest. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when you're in that zone, you can't fail. You know what I mean? It's there's just a certain thing that does to you. Like we knew we could do it. But at the same time, it was like the most insane of all insane things in the world. We were super excited, though we knew we could deliver it because we had been doing it for years and years at that point. This was the end of '99, the first time we did it, and then we did it again the end of 2000. So by the second time we did it, we weren't even nervous. First time we did it, we were very nervous, but we got the sound check with him too, and we had already won the competition before we ever even did it. Did you know that?
No.
You're like, what are you talking about? Okay. So it was kind of a set thing. Joey. So the first thing you have to know is that Mike and I had nothing to do with it. Mike and I would not have even entered the competition because we were already like, at this point, Mike and I were very jaded. Like to the point where we would have thought it was stupid to even enter a competition because we would have been like, well, we wouldn't have, it's ridiculous. We wouldn't be, why would we even think we would be, we wouldn't, no, just like have not believed that we would have even been chosen to be in it. Like it would just be ridiculous to even, you know what I mean? It was just that whole lack of believing that we would be chosen to be on it. First of all, but then also knowing, well, of course we would kill anybody that would try out, but just the idea, it's kind of like, you don't even try out to be in a singing competition because you don't try out for American Idol because you know that you know you're not going to make it, even though you know you're better than anybody that's on the show. If that makes any sense, I don't know if that's like Nate. That would be you,
Yeah.
not
Well,
me. That's not my generation, but
but
that was you 10 years ago.
as far as Ramones go, I remember that time you guys were it. Like there was no one. I mean, in my opinion, I listened to Riverdale, Screeching Weasels, all that. Like you guys, you could tell because the way your downstrokes were, like you really captured that.
My downstroke is actually Johnny Ramone. I have the
Yes, yeah.
exact bounce.
Yep.
I play exact. It's exact.
It's
Whereas,
perfect. Yeah.
Right. The other bands that do it, they do a lot of cut and paste. They do a lot of where I play it straight through. I do it live. I play that way exclusively. I still do it. I'll be 60 and 3 years old, and I can still hang with every show the whole time.
Dude, so, it's so hard. It's so hard. Like I remember. Sorry, I'm derailing. Also, for me, I'm gonna gush over you because you actually are one of my guitar musical heroes. No joke. I think I've told you that before.
Yeah.
But my first show ever was opening for you in Williams, California.
You had blue hair.
I had blue hair. Yes.
Yes.
And I could not believe how you were doing it, like the downstrokes. I still don't do downstrokes that good. And it was so perfect.
It's in the wrist. Most people don't realize it's in the wrist, and you have to do little circles. Yeah, so you have to go down and up and around, and everybody tries to brute force it with their arm.
Yeah,
and it's not. And you have to not even think about it. You got to stay calm because the moment you start overly thinking about it is the moment you start going, oh. And you have to understand. So whenever you change your chord, that's a little mini rest. So and you have to understand and this anyway. Doesn't matter.
I love it.
I freaking love
it. Fast beat songs are actually easier to do than the mid tempo songs. Because the fast beat songs you're actually going like this, but just fast. But the mid tempo songs they're actually faster. But but when you play that way 100% of the time, it just becomes the way you play guitar. So I do that way in the Stivs. I do that way in the Huntingtons. I do it that way 100. And I've been doing it that way since. So I started playing it. I started doing that. So Sweet 16 was not that way. All my guitar playing on Fun and Games, and everything since then has been that way. So,
right. Yeah, it was like the Joey Ramone thing. Like when you got that opportunity, I understand I would be crazy nervous, but also at the same time, there's like this confidence underneath. It's like, but this is what we do. Like I can kill this. So yeah, that totally makes sense. But yeah.
So Josh Blackway was brand new to the band then.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the one who had that like youthful, like, yeah, we can do this. He had this belief in this youthful, like it's totally because of him that we did File Under Ramones. That was a newer album that we did. He got a hold of the Ramones guy, the Ramones management guys, and sent that into them. And their guy who was in charge of putting on this competition heard it, and he was just like, oh my gosh, Joey's got to hear this. And Joey heard that, and he was just like right away, yeah, this is who I want to play with. I'll sound check with them, but I want them to win, because he was just like, he wasn't going to go out there and have this be a real competition and have this be where he just walks out and plays with whoever wins, because he wasn't going to do that. He was going to sound check with who he was going to go out there and play. So we got there early. We sound checked 4 songs with him. And so it was already set. We talked to him on the phone ahead of time. He already decided what songs he was going to play with us. And then we sound checked. One of the songs we were going to do was Danny Says. We had it all worked out. We were going to do it electric and everything. It was real cool. But then he ended up not being comfortable with the arrangement that we had, which was really good, but it just wasn't what he's used to doing. So we canned that, and we did the other stuff. And yeah, that's how it ended up being what it was. And then the next year we ended up doing it longer, and it was cooler. And both times, the second year we got to play as Huntington's first, and then we ended the night with the Joey set too.
That is so cool. Did I was Marky playing drums at that time?
No, so then we ended up doing the second time we did it. Then like a month later, then we did the Marky Ramone tour in Europe.
Okay.
Where
I
we didn't play with him. We sound checked a couple times with him, but we didn't play
okay,
like live, like at any shows with him. We just played
gotcha.
where he got hired to play drums with this band called the
Uh-huh.
Buckweeds, and we toured with them for a month. So that's what it was.
Um, I was going to tell you, a couple was I guess it was last year. We opened for Marky Ramone came through Bakersfield, and
Yes.
we didn't get a lot of local shows because the punk scene is not a fan of Nate Parrish. But
Why?
I'm
I,
not punk. I'm not punk enough, dude.
I,
It's a whole thing. I want
actually,
to ask you some questions about that later. It's really interesting.
is it
But
because
that's
you're
the
too
funny
much?
thing.
Let me guess.
You always
Is
say
it
you're
because you're
not
too
punk
much
enough.
like
Punk enough for
is
the
it
secular crowd, you're not Christian enough for the Christian
yeah,
crowd. And
I'm in
to
the sweet
me,
spot.
But that's
yeah,
exactly like the Huntingtons were way
Yeah,
back then all the
yeah,
time because we were definitely not Christian enough for a Christian scene, but
right,
because we were on Tooth and Nail, the
right.
whole punk rock scene back then didn't want to have anything to do with us. So
Yeah,
yeah, I know that. I know.
it's
I,
so Marky was
you were all
coming
just
through.
too Andrew WK for them or something.
Yeah, dude.
well, the
I
thing
too many
is,
melodies, man. They were like, why do you write catchy songs? I was like, what's the point of writing music that's not what? It was like a really crust punk thing. It's a
Dude,
whole
can I just say something really quick?
yeah.
The thing I hate so much about modern music is all the melody lines are taken out of all modern music, and
Yeah.
everybody sings the harmony. Everybody sings the harmony as the lead vocal. It
Interesting.
sucks. It's even in like worship music is like that now,
Mm.
and it's what it is. It's the way emo has infected everything. So even pop music is like that,
Yeah.
and so when I say modern worship music, I'm not talking about um, like for adults, but I'm talking about like modern worship music that is designed to appeal to like 25 and younger.
Hmm.
Is all like this, and it's where the lead vocal is just like this all the time. It just stays in
Sure, I
this one
see.
thing all the it's just horrible because they're just singing the harmony as the lead vocal and it's supposed to create like this angst thing and it's supposed to be where it's the music, it creates this tension, but it sucks
Tension.
because it makes everything just sound the same. It's horrible. I hate
Yeah.
it.
No, you're yeah.
That's
So
my old man get off my lawn.
I was just gonna say, yeah, for sure. I'm a little
I like
bit.
melody,
I'm
man. I
approaching the
like
get
melody. I
off my
like
lawn.
songs.
I think we
Also
all have
on
that in us.
Yeah.
yeah, you could one of course. You told me something. I think we had a phone call one time. You called me. You were driving, and we were talking about songs, and I had a tendency to overstuff the music. And you're like, "Let me give you some advice. Leave some stuff out because the audience needs to see something to sing." And I was like, oh, you know what? That's really good advice. So like overstuffing like the vocals, you're compensating for not having a good melody. You're stuffing it with like stuff, right? And
Yeah.
so you told me that, Cliffy, and I was like, that's a really good advice. Leave some space for the audience to add their own harmonies.
Yeah, it really comes down to
Just
think
focus on
about
the melody.
what was so great about Motown. You know what I mean? The original Motown
Mm,
stuff. Think about them girl groups and what was and Beatles even and all that stuff. And what was so great about 50s music and 80s music, both of those eras where the verses were just as catchy as the choruses.
mhm. Yeah.
Unbelievable songwriting.
Mhm.
Unbelievable. All of that stuff was so good. Now, 90s music, there's a lot of really good stuff there too, certainly compared to what's going on now. But oh my gosh, it's just crazy.
Um, so anyways, I brought up the Marky thing because we got to open for Marky. I told the promoter, it's like, I've never asked you for much, but we need to do this show. And he's like, "You want to?" I was like, do you know? Yeah. And so
Yeah,
we got to play with Marky and he played 35 songs straight
right.
with zero breaks. He's like, what is he like 75 or something like that? Or
He's 76. Yeah. Well, oh no, hold on, let me see. Yes, he's 76. Yeah, he's 10 years older than me. So yeah.
yeah, such a beast. And he was really
No.
kind.
Wait,
And
no. He's 20 years older than me. He's 10 years older than Warren, and Warren's 10 years older than me. So yes.
yeah, he was so kind. He's like, I heard your set, good stuff, with the thumb. And he said, you guys know where I need a belt. My pants are falling down. And I was like, well, you could borrow my belt, dude. He's like, oh, okay. And so he takes my belt. He's like, I'll give it back to you. He's like, please don't. I want to be the guy that gave you that belt. you keep that belt, Marky. And it was like
Dude,
the coolest.
His singer is awesome. He's like Joey reincarnated.
Yeah, he is. He's there. The whole band. I just sat there smiling. Like I never got to see the Ramones. I got to see Dee Dee a couple months before he passed at Bojangles in Sacramento,
Right.
and it was incredible. So that was the closest I got to like seeing Ramones, and it was like, man, I just smiled the whole
I
time.
saw them on their final tour at Hammer Jackson, Baltimore. It was awesome.
So cool.
1996.
Man, lucky man.
So it was funny. But what was so funny is CJ was so awesome at that point. That's all I ended up watching is he was just so cool. I just couldn't take my eyes off of him because he just the way he would act and everything. He had so much energy and he would lip sync the lyrics to the crowd. It was like he had just had this energy, like he was one of us getting to be in the Ramones. And I just never forgot that. And I've actually brought that same kind of thing. That's kind of I brought that same kind of thing into what I do. Yeah, I just
so when you
think that
when I saw you when we opened for you guys, which was I couldn't believe that was happening. It was like a dream come true, honestly. And we only played that one show, and then the singer left right after that show. So we never
for you guys.
That was it.
Yeah,
that was it. But I had got bitten by the bug. But I watched you the whole time. And so I was like, all right, well, this is the master. When I watch how Cliffy does it, and so I took a lot of your stage presence and I incorporated that myself. But I listened to an interview recently where you talked about CJ and how you that's the moment. I could be wrong, but that was the moment when you guys were like, we're going to go full. We're doing this. Like we're going full Ramones. We're doing this. And you watch CJ and his stage presence, and it was like. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, the whole us going up forward to the for the verses or choruses and back, kind of step back and doing the whole thing together. Kind of it's subtle choreography. It's nothing too over the top, but it's subtleness and just an overall sense of energy at the same time. It's not there's not a boringness, so we're really really getting into it. But there's all that stuff.
I love that's Johnny was my favorite Ramone. And that's what I loved about him, or at least watching interviews and reading like books and stuff, where he was like the way he kind of ran the band like military. Like he was like, hey, we're here to mess stuff up, and we're gonna do it right. We're gonna match. We're gonna do this. It's gonna be one attack at the audience. I just was like, man, I love that approach to music because it bothers me when a band's like, all right, so we're gonna do we got 3 more songs. And you guys having fun, or whatever. And they're tuning in. I was like, oh, dude, I want a band to come in like they're not from Earth, like they're like
have another guitar already in tune. If you're a little out, hurry up, take a guitar, put the other guitar on, and keep going. And this should be either no talking or hardly any talking. My other band, the Stivs, it doesn't stop. We play about a half an hour, and every song connects to the other song, and our singer doesn't talk. We just start at the beginning, and we just go.
Love it.
And just
so cool.
Straight through.
Question for you, Cliffy.
Yes. We don't mean to leave you out, man. I'm sorry, Christian.
Sorry. He said Ramones, and I just went crazy.
I know.
That's what I was hoping for. There'd be more of a conversation, but I'm going to do a little switch of the conversation and focus in on one of your albums.
Okay.
And that's Thank God for the Bomb. Mainly because of the shift you had that stylistically, because that is a much harder style. It still has
the new album, the newest album.
Yeah,
Muerto Carcel or Rock and Roll Renecido. That came out twice. The first time we didn't get it right. We had to pay for a fancy remix, and so we added the Renecido on it, which means reborn. So the whole album means Dead Jailer Rock and Roll. Then Dead Jailer Rock and Roll Reborn, because we got it remixed, and now it sounds proper how it was meant to be. Super proud of that record. I love it because it sounds very much like a brand new template for the band, but at the same time still totally sounds like the band. It's very much like Get Lost, fully realized. Okay. It's like if Get Lost, we had taken the time to really have all the so when we did Get Lost and Plastic Surgery, we recorded both of those albums at the same time.
No
So
way.
yes. So at the exact same time, dude, both of those albums, plus the Darlington split, which later got released as Punk Sounds, but all of that was done at the same exact time, which meant things like background vocals suffered simply because we had to sit there and go, oh, what are we going to do for background vocals? Okay, we can put that there and we can put that there. But, you know, since we did all this stuff back then we were such crazy. I mean, we just wrote so fast and did all this. We were so hungry with writing all the time. But what that does is, and Nate, you'll know what I mean, it doesn't leave a lot of time for really fleshing out the songs and really spending the time that really need to, you know, what it does is after you make the album and you start touring the album, then you're like, oh man, I wish I would have done that. Oh man, I wish I would have done that. Because look, now we're doing this. Oh, that would have been so cool if we would have done that. But now it's too late because that's already like that. It's already gone to press and it's already there. It is. But now you're doing this live and you're doing this live and you're doing these background vocals live and they're all missing from the album. So this album is fully realized. We had we wrote it and we wrote it as a band. It wasn't just, you know, and we just rehearsed it and we really spent all this time doing all this. And so it's fully realized is Ramones, Adios Amigos meets Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. You know, so it's got it's got the really cool rock and roll stuff going on, but fully Ramones the whole time. And if you think about that when you're listening to it, you'll realize it's going on. So we did some things that were different. One of the main things that we did that was different is we recorded it live. Like we recorded the basic tracks live. All probably 95 to 98% of all my rhythm guitar tracks are recorded straight one shot with all the drums. Mm-hmm. That's how well I knew the songs from. Now Josh, no, probably 30% of his, because when he just his life at the time, he wasn't able to be there during the writing sessions and during the practices as much as I was. So you know, the songs were primarily written by me, Chris, and Mike. And because of that, and just being there all the time, intense and rehearsing and writing, I just knew the songs really well. I was a machine when we were doing it. So when we were recording it, you know, I was just really super on. So my straight takes when I was doing my guitar rhythms are the ones that were kept from my rhythms. Mm-hmm. And Josh had to retake a lot of his rhythms, but we kept what he could. But also, whenever I went to my little like lead stuff, and this we did a lot too. Like whenever we went to like the majority of, if I went to like a little lead lick, I did it during my rhythm. So my little lead lick will be on. So all my rhythm tracks are on the left. All Josh's rhythm tracks are on the right. Why would you mix an album like you're watching a band? Anybody that can go see a band anytime, mix an album like you're in the band, because you want to pretend that you're in the band. You don't want to pretend like you're watching a band. You want to mix the drums like you're doing this. Like you want to air band like you're the drummer. You don't want to air band like you're sitting there. Oh, I'm gonna air band like I'm watching the drums. Like here's the snare over here. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that. You want to sit there and air band like you're the drummer. Right? That's what I would do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So my guitar always has to be on the left. Anyways, my guitar is on the left because I stand stage left. Josh's guitar is on the right. He stands stage right. So whenever my little lead breaks are coming over, you know, on there. Now there's some that are purposefully overdubbed right up the middle, but this is exactly how Appetite for Destruction does the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. If you're listening to it, some of the leads are only in one side, some of the leads are only in one side, and some of the leads are up the middle. So it's the exact same process. Also, the guitars are a little bit more rock and roll on this album than they are on some of our other albums. And some of that is by design, some of it's because we played it live. The guitar or the bass is more Duff McKagan than it is Ramones as far as tone. The drum tones are really cool and solid, and just all of this kind of stuff. Mike went back to a little bit more of his Joey Ramone voice to kind of get back to that like Get Lost kind of sound. This is Chris. This is the first album he made with us, and now his drumming style is a lot more similar to Mike Pierce, our original drummer. Now here's another thing that's very different about this album. No click track at all on this entire.
Oh wow,
album. None. We really wanted this album to have an overall live feel, as much as you can have, but still have a true studio presentation. So it's not like we didn't just go in at this album and bust it out live. There's overdubbing out the wazoo, but we wanted just to have an overall more of a live feel. And I think that this album does have that, but it's just, so that's going to have that. But so it has a more rock and roll sound, but it also has that latter Ramones feel. But I'd say it probably just sounds like the full scope of the band's career. It's what we sound like today. Obviously, it doesn't sound like Sweet 16 and Fun and Games, clearly, or even High School Rock, but it sounds like get like a more fully developed, fully realized what we are today version of, I would say, Get Lost. Probably. It's probably the best way I would describe it. But, I don't know. You guys listen to it. What do y'all think? You guys are, as people who listen to the band, you probably can describe it better than I can. What do y'all think?
No, it's got aggression. I think it has a more aggression than some of the other stuff. And then, like, I personally, I like the production on Get Lost and Plastic Surgery. I think it's good. I think it's, naturally the sound quality was going up with your albums. But even before you remixed it, the 2020 version, we talked about that a little bit, like Liar and Slammer. I was like, those are straight bangers. You could feel the live, you can feel the energy. Like there's something, it's tangible. Like you guys are standing there, like how you kept the drums are in the guitar track. It's like, which is
So there's going to be now, right. So our guitars were not in the same room. Our guitars were in dedicated rooms, but we were standing in there with the drums. Right. So if there's any bleed, it's because our drummers got headphones on. And so there's always a potential for that. But yeah, man, it should sound like if you're listening to it with headphones on, even the remix, it should probably sound like you're in there with the band. It should have that overall general feel, but not in a sloppy way. You know what I mean? Because no. Do you like the remix better? I like the remix. I personally
like the remix better myself, just because it does feel a little more intense. And
I just think everything sounds more where it should be.
Yeah,
it sounds a lot more even from song to song.
No,
Perry is just super good. Yeah,
I don't know. It's easier to hear the differences in the instruments. I loved it. It's
everything cuts through. There's a little and I personally love that acoustic version of the Penny
the reprise at the end. I actually haven't heard that one. When I was going back through, I was like, I didn't realize that you re-released like with the new mixes. So I was looking at them like,
and that remix. That's not like, and we had put that out as a single with like a really rudimentary acoustic version of that. But that is a full, Perry went and spent 3 days putting that remix together of that acoustic version. He's got, nice. Dude, it's,
I'll have to check it out. I haven't heard it.
It's crazy. It makes both me and Mike are like, we got to do a whole album like this. It's just so good. It's so awesome. Cool. Yeah, and then the cover song by
the breakup song. Yeah, that's awesome. Speaking of live,
I'm old. I can't remember song titles anymore.
Speaking of playing live, your guys' live album then is '98, right? Was that right?
99, I think. Maybe it was
Something like
98. I thought it was 99, but maybe because that, yeah,
that.
no, it was 1999 because in 99 we put out 4 albums, I think, wasn't it? Or maybe it was just like one, maybe it's just
No,
one calendar, no, maybe it's just one calendar year, like in one physical year we came out with 4 albums, live
you guys
albums,
were on a rip.
Ramones, huh?
You guys were ripping at that time because that's when I discovered you. Was during that was literally I think I played with you as 99. Um, it was you were on tour with Fred and the Savages. Not, I don't know if
Right.
you,
But
but
it
yeah,
was actually 5 albums came out in one physical. Not now. It's two. It'll say 2 years, but in one, it was one actual real year that time span came out. It was the live album, File Under Ramones, Get
right.
Lost, Plastic Surgery, and the Split with Darlington. All came out in
It's
one physical actual year. I know it's
wild.
crazy. I know it is fun.
But
We just wrote like crazy, crazy, crazy. And you know that live album cost us $400 to do,
dude, I
and
heard
it was
this.
our biggest selling album we ever did in our whole
It's
history.
dude, it's I actually brought it out today because I'm gonna brush up on it some Huntingtons and I went through that one and did you say that that was the first live album that Tooth and Nail had done,
Yes. Yep.
which
Yep.
is super cool.
Because Brandon Ebel used to say, "I will never release an live album," and then we were like, "Oh yeah." So we went and recorded that for $400, and he heard that and he was like, "$400? Okay, I'll put this out," because it just
Uh-huh.
sounded so clean and so good.
It
Now,
sounds good.
yeah,
It sounds real
yeah.
good.
Now we
It's a
actually
great
went
album.
in and we just busted that out live, but we were in a studio. We just went
Okay.
into our same studio. We did everything, but we just set up everything. We just busted
Yeah.
straight through live. But since it's just in the studio, and then what we did is we mixed it for an audience. We took the when the intro is just we stole it from the Ramones Loco Live,
Yeah.
and then we mixed in for the actual live audience. We took the audience from Barren Cross, Hotter Than Hell Live, and the Social Distortion's live album. We
There,
took both
dude.
of those and we just sprinkled in the various live parts from those 2 albums and put that in the different. And then we just talked between the songs
Right, right.
and we had just gotten off tour, so we just played our same set that we did live every day on tour. And we just
I
did
pro
that straight through and just put in that stuff. Yeah,
I promise you,
and
I'm
we
not
just
just
pushed
saying
it
this
straight through
now.
real fast.
I'm not just saying this now, but I remember at the time I was thinking, this sounds like the crowd and stuff. I was like, it sounds really like, uh,
Huge.
yeah. And well, not
And it
that,
made people think that we were bigger than we
right.
were.
And even
And
like
then,
the
of course,
talking and
the
stuff, it
pictures were all
was
from Tom Fest. The live
right,
pictures
right.
were all from
But it
Tom
was so
Fest.
perfect. But it was the album is really great. It sounds awesome, and you could feel that it's live. Um, Not because there's imperfections per se, but it's just it's different. Like it's just when you see a band live, like you listen to a live Ramones album, everything's faster
Yeah.
somehow, which I don't even know how it was possible, but like they play faster, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's great, man.
It's the
It's a
same
killer.
thing. It's because look, we had just gotten off tour, so
Yeah,
we were used to just ripping through everything exactly like we did. We went in. I mean, the recording took 45 minutes.
yeah.
But we did those songs, and we also then for the same $400, we did the entire album. We just set up real fast. We did the entire live album for recorded 45 minutes, and then we spent like an hour and a half recording "It's Always Christmas at My House."
Cool.
That
Wow.
we did one mix of and did that and put that on their live album or no the Christmas album that Tooth and Nail did, and then we mixed it again and put it on the Split with Darlington. So
Yeah.
that we did that, and we did a few overdubs for it later on, but the first version of it is on the Split with yeah.
Yeah.
So we just were just maniacs like that. We just did, and that was things were different back then. Things were cheaper, of course, but we did everything on the fly, and we just had a million dreams, and we had a million ideas, and we always felt like we were running out of time. We never knew how long we were going to be able to have to do this, and we were young, and we were super hungry, and we just wanted to keep doing it while we could. We never knew how long we you know what I mean. We had a label, and we never knew how long they were going to let us do it. And so basically Tooth and Nail kept letting us do it because we worked our butts off and they didn't have to put a lot of money into us. So
You guys were always out. I saw you again later that year with the Deadlines, which I love the
yeah,
Deadlines. I still sometimes go back and listen to that first album. Christian, have you heard that album?
So I wasn't into the deadlines. Hopefully that doesn't get
Okay.
me in trouble today. Uh,
How dare you?
no, I was very much into the Huntingtons. That was very my MXPX.
Yeah.
I was in a punk band called Surefire Delight, so I was very much into that style, and yeah, that's what I got
Yeah,
into.
look, the problem with the deadlines is you see them live and they were so crazy and awesome, and they could not translate what they were live into the recording on their album. You know, the drums
Yeah.
were really weak
Yeah.
on the album. They just couldn't you know, I'd say they probably just didn't have the right engineer that could translate, because their songs were cool. Sean was an awesome singer. You
Sean's a
know,
great singer.
then of
Yeah.
course they jumped the shark with that second album where they just threw away the entire
That
audience.
that was crazy when I saw that, and I'm like, this is not the same band? And you can hear like it's Sean's voice, but they're doing kind of the glam thing a
Yeah.
little bit. I saw them on tour when they were on that that kick too, and I was like, that's still what.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about you? So Tooth and Nail. I know you're a believer. I think you at the
Me.
time you
I have never stopped for even half a second, dude.
love it, love it.
I will be dying. But the thing is, what you have to understand is with me, it's about the gospel. It is not about Christian culture. I don't
That's what I was
give
going to
two
ask you
craps
about.
about Christian culture, man. Christian
Yeah.
culture is about politics, and that, dude. There's two. I just gonna go on a little rant real fast.
Oh, I did it. All right, go
All right,
for it.
in my lifetime, which now I was born in 1969, so I've been around for a little bit, folks. So in my lifetime, the Christian scene in America has done so. Christianity, that would be, you know, I guess evangelical Christianity in America has done two things really, really, really badly. That's damaged its reputation horribly. The first of those things is not politics. The first of those things is we convinced people that Jesus Christ was coming back in our lifetime, that the rapture was going to happen, and we would not have to face physical death. That was the first thing that we have convinced. That was the whole Jesus movement in the 70s. Bob Dylan, all that stuff. Now, Bob Dylan's still a believer, believe it or not. I don't know if you guys know that, but Bob Dylan's still a believer. Recently, he came out and he just said that I still believe it all, man. I'm still a believer. I believe everything in the Bible, which was really awesome that he said that. But anyway, he was part of that whole Jesus, but the whole Jesus movement was a fad. It was a big thing it was a big thing in the 70s. Anyway, translates into it came into the 80s, and that was I don't think either one of you guys are old enough to remember this, but in the 80s, it was a really, really, really big deal. It was preached like crazy. Jesus is coming back. All these movies that Billy Graham would release, that he released, Thief in the Night, and all this was about, you know, you're going to get left behind, you know, all the Left Behind series, all that stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all that stuff. Jesus was going to come back like a thief in the night. That was the big movie about this. And you were going to be, you know, like mom was going to be cooking dinner. Flash was going to come, and you were going to be the only one left behind because you weren't saved, and everybody was going to be gone. And what were you going to do? That was a big deal. You know, he's going to come back, and you were going to be gone. All this was a big, big, big deal. And it had a lot of people believing they weren't going to have to actually die physical death. And what happened was people got older and older and older, and they suddenly realized, and the mom and dad died. And as they got older, they suddenly realized, oh crap, I'm really going to die. This isn't true. And it's always seems weird to me. It's like, why would you believe all fervently when you were young and then get old and have to die? And now you're going to stop believing. But it's weird because, you know, but that's what a lot of people have done. They lost faith because as they were getting closer to having, once they started realizing their mortality, they actually lost faith and they just lost faith in it. That was the first thing. The second thing was getting in bed with politicians in mass. They said, because what they did is they forgot the age-old thing, the age-old bumper sticker thing that said, "This is not my home. I just live here." That's the old thing, the old Christian statement. If either of you guys have been around in the Christianity for long enough, you've heard somebody say that. Old Petra song, even sang that. And that was just like, you know, that whole thing. Not of This World. That was one of their albums. It was a sucky album. It was a very bad follow-up to a really great album called More Power to You. It was a fantastic album. More Power to You was the best album they ever put out. They followed it up with Not of This World, which is a sucky album. But anyway, so Not of This World just comes from that that statement of saying, "This is not my home. I just live here." And people forgot that. They wanted to make this their home. They wanted to be comfortable in America and in the world, and they tried to make this their home. But they forgot that this is not their home. They wanted to get in bed with politicians and try to make this a Christian nation and the Christian world and all this kind of stuff. No, 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 no. You spread the gospel. You don't try to make this your home. You try to make believers. It's a different thing. And when we tried to do that, then what happened with that? They made it politics. And then what did that do? That made liberals, that made the left en masse just look at the right as nothing. They made the Christians as look just part of the right, and made it. They make as soon as they as anybody on the left hears that you're a Christian, all they hear is what? You're a Republican, and that you're a right voter, and you're nothing but that all you are is somebody to defeat at the ballot box. And there goes your witness. There goes the Great Commission. There goes your ability to properly, effectively do what? Spread the gospel. There goes your ability to do all that. We literally gave all of that away when we did those two things. It's the worst things that have been done in my entire lifetime. It's awful. We did that, all of us together. You know, I used to say when I was really into politics, I used to say, Christians are allowed to be into politics. Okay, sure. But that's what we did when we did that.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, anyway,
well,
rant over.
Well, I will put in some hope. You know, as a person who does believe in the rapture, I think what happened is people.
I believe in the rapture too, but the thing is, all I will just say, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry, but I will just say this: I actually believe in the rapture, but I will just say, it doesn't matter to me if it's true or not, because I'm going to heaven. So it doesn't matter if he comes back and takes me, or if it's simply that because you know what? I'm pretty sure that if I have to live in the end of days, it's not going to be awesome.
Yeah. Well, and that was Keith Green used to say that he was asked what he believed, and he goes, well, if I get taken up, awesome. If I don't, and I go through the mid-tier, great. If I go through the whole thing, great. Well, all that matters is Jesus. And I think that's what people forget is what the crux of the matter is Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And we need to put our faith in Jesus. That's who saves. And so the whole, we're supposed to be about Jesus. And if that's all we do is preach politics, then we're missing out on what we really need to preach, and that's the word of God. And my hope is to see more and more churches get back into what we're called to do, and that's go make disciples.
Yes. I mean, when it comes to politics, obviously there's a side that makes sense, but neither one of them really makes sense.
So being, you know, Christian or punk, and like I find I feel like I'm in a good spot, and probably where you live as well, is because you believe in God. That's not punk. And then if you
well, nobody thinks we're punk because we're old. So there's that.
But you're still doing downstrokes that the kids can't.
Yeah. So. I still kick everybody's butt in that.
That's right. So whatever. And so just that whole binary of like, you need to pick one. You can't be Christian. And I hear this all the time. You can't be Christian and punk. Where I'm like, what the heck does punk even mean? So I wanted to ask you, as an elder statesman, to me, what do you make of that? Have you experienced that? Is punk even a real thing? What does it even mean? Does it mean anything?
Okay, well, in the punk scene, punk definitely no longer means think for yourself, for sure.
Right.
It used to mean that. There was a time when it absolutely meant that. Now punk means one, status quo. It means support. It means Democrat all the way. It means supporting big government. I mean, it's anathema to anything that it ever used to be. It's horrible. It's ridiculous. It means oh goodness gracious, it means that you're you totally support and are for corporates. It's like you're totally corporate, and you can sit there all day long and say that you're not for a billionaire or this and that. As long as that billionaire is a Democrat, then you're for them. So no,
What is it
you don't know
supposed to
what you're
mean?
talking about.
What did it used to mean? I mean, what would Joey do?
It used to mean, what punk used to mean was think for yourself. It used to be it was think for yourself, live for today, because tomorrow there will be no tomorrow. It was chaos. It was I mean, you got to think of the Dead Boys and the New York Dolls and all that stuff. It was there is no tomorrow. It was what's the word? What is the word that there was a specific word. That word that means there is no tomorrow. What is this word?
Fatalistic?
No.
A guy, I think it was yesterday. I was on some punk rock forum thing that I need to leave, but they were talking about Johnny Ramone. Said, "Oh, Johnny was a poser," because Johnny was conservative or whatever, and they said, "Oh, Johnny was a fake." I was like, "Oh my gosh, dude, what? How is it?" So I was like, you know what, we're done. Someone told me, they're like, you're not allowed to be punk because you believe in God. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm out of the club. And they said, cool, you're out of the club. I was like, cool, good, I'm out of the club.
Nihilistic.
Nihilistic.
Yeah. Nihilism. You know, all those bands in the late 70s, like the Dead Boys and all that, it's totally nihilistic. That whole view of
Richard Hell.
Just totally craziness all the time. That's why they did drugs and all that kind of stuff. It didn't matter.
Because there was no tomorrow.
They did not care about they did not worry or care about growing old because they knew they weren't going to.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
I want to throw this out with you that I actually believe Christianity is very punk. And the reason being, if you're truly living out Christianity, you're living out the belief that the misfit toys are welcome. That we actually care about the broken, the disenfranchised, the people unwelcomed. That to me is punk rock, because when I was in college, the punk rock concerts were the places I was welcomed in, not the other places. The misfit
you're not
toys
corporate. You're not a corporate slag.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a corporate slag. You're not beholden to a real Christian. Good grief! Look at Jesus and his disciples. Look at them. Good grief.
They were misfit toys. I mean, they would not be welcome in most places.
No, they were. They were. Oh my goodness, they were
counterculture. They were countercultural.
Absolutely, 100%.
Jesus literally was. They kept telling him, "You need to get into politics. You need to overthrow the government." He's like, "No, you need to do this." No. You know, he was on a mission. I remember when I was getting into punk rock and the scene in Stockton where I grew up. I was one of the few Christians, and they gave me some crap, but for the most part, they were cool. But I remember my friends were straight edge, and I was like, "So tell me about straight edge." They're like, "Well, we don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't do, sleep with a bunch of people, we don't do that." I was like, "So you guys have like commandments?" And they just stopped. I was like, "Seems like you guys are pretty religious," and that was it. It's because at the end of the day, we all, whether people really realize it or not, they're all worshiping something. They're all bowing to something. Some just create their own gods. We just bow to one that exists already. But
Well, either you're worshiping yourself or worshiping idols, or you're worshiping the one true God.
Well, there's only one God, and the problem is everybody wants to run around and they want to pretend that they are God. So they say there is no God because what they want is they want government to be God. And they think that they want to replace, well, they don't want to replace religion, which is a terrible word. But anyway, they want to replace religion with government. That's what they want to do, or they think that's what the government wants to do, actually. But they think that's a good idea. They think that they are going to do good with their fellow man with the government, and then they can leave religion out. Politically, I think all religion is good for society in the sense of, well, generally helping to keep order and all that kind of stuff. But for actual real faith and the gospel reasons, I think religion is a bunch of crap, personally.
Yeah.
Well, the Bible says true religion is this: helping widows and orphans in distress,
Sure,
and keeping oneself clean. But the sad truth is, so many people
religion
don't
is
even care
making
about the widows and orphans.
no.
They care about their pocketbook.
How religion is today is how it was in Jesus' day, which is corrupted to be personal power, personal position. It's way worse than that now. Now it's men building monuments to themselves and calling it, "Oh, I'm doing all this for God." They're not doing
Yeah,
it at all.
the prosperity gospel.
Yeah, all that. Well, it's more than that. It's even like you go to church and we've got to build we got to raise $3 million because we need a gym. Really? Okay, I'm not coming to this church anymore then.
Cliffy, you're so punk rock, buddy.
Yeah, dude.
You're so punk. Hey, is there anything cool that you're listening to these days? I mean, I know we love the old
Well,
stuff.
yeah. So there's a band that's actually, so I'm on a label called Shake It. My other band, The Stivs. I don't know if you've ever checked it out, but we are awesome. But anyway, we're on a label called Shakin' Hips Records.
Yeah.
Which, full disclosure, that's my wife's label, but it's a great record label. It's a fantastic record label. And
Cool.
And there's a band on this label that is my favorite new band on the world. They're just oh my gosh, they're so good. They're called Fashion Crime. Now, they're not saying that fashion is a crime. They're using the word fashion as a verb. So it's fashion crime. So fashion crime. You understand?
Gotcha.
That's what.
Got
That's
it.
what. But anyway, they're just really, really, really super good. They're fast. They're chaotic. I don't really like DC music very much. So it's like if DC music was more punky and had a lot better hooks, it would be this. And they're unbelievably good. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Their album is called, I think it's called The End of Humanity or something like that. But check it out. Fashion Crime. I love it. So
I'll
good.
check them out. Did you Stibbs, did you get a new vocalist?
Yeah, his name it's so the Stivs, it's attitude driven. It's not like vocal talent driven, obviously. And so our singer, his name is Jimmy Kennedy. He's actually my childhood friend. I met him when I was 7 and he was 3, and we were best friends as teenagers. We always dreamed of being in a band someday. So when I came back over here, I always had it in my mind, man, if things worked out and if I ever just decided to get that band, if I just decided to get a new version of that band going someday, I would give him a call. And I just love that style, that whole kind of Zeke rock and rolly kind of thing, New York Dolls, AC/DC, but faster. And I was really missing those riffs and that kind of songwriting, that kind of stuff. And there's some kind of there's some of that on that newest Huntington's album. That's just the way I naturally write. And I just decided to get it going again, and I gave him a call, and we got it going, and we've been doing that for a few years now, and it's gangbusters now, man. It's awesome. We did an album called Get Loose, which is we did this. I did this album years ago called The Beat Is Loose, and it was horrible. It was good, but it was mixed horrible, and it was made worse by the fact that the album that the label that put it out at the time used 128K MP3s on the CD at the time, and made it even worse by accidentally putting 2 seconds between each song. So it was I was super mad at the time.
Because you love it when they all butt up, right? You mixed. You mastered my album, and it was awesome.
So it was all that kind of stuff originally, and I just sent them reference files, and they used that to make the CDs, and it accidentally put 2 seconds between songs. So I was super burned at the time. and it was pressed and there was nothing I could do. So I was embarrassed of it and everything. So what I did is so we had the band going for a while. For the first couple of years, all we did is play Sweet Heartache and The Satisfaction straight through as our set list. And that was kind of like just getting used to things and everything. And then we started writing new songs, but then I was like, you know what? I think as the first thing that I'd like to do, just to really get used to it and just being in the studio with this, let's go ahead and redo the whole album. Get Loose. The Beat Is Loose. And we were trying to figure out, but there was also a song there was an instrumental that we did on the first album, the Reaction album. It was called Four on the Floor. And I was like, let's actually write some lyrics to that. And we did. And so it's called The Stivs Are Here. And so we turned it into a real song. So we did that. And then we recorded the rest of the album. And we also recorded a cover of Johnny Thunders. I Want to Be Loved. Really super good cover. And then everything else is the entire The Beat Is Loose album. Everything. We did the rest of it. And it came out, and we had Perry, the same guy who did the remix of the New Huntingtons album. We had him mix it because I just loved how that turned out. So we had him mix it. So I paid a lot of money to have him mix it. And it just sounds phenomenal. Oh my gosh. It sounds so good. And it's called, and I decided that as a kind of tag on Huntington's and also on a tag on the original title, it's called Get Loose, like Get Lost. And also like the beat is loose, it's called Get Loose. So it's the Stivs Get Loose. And that's on all the outlets, but it's also on vinyl. But you can check that out on Spotify and everywhere else. And we also did a split EP with Fashion Crime, and it's called Trash Anthems. And we have five songs are ours and 3 songs are theirs. But on the digital media outlets, on the download outlet, it's a split 7-inch. But it's just 2 EPs, 2 separate EPs. So for the digital download outlets or the streaming outlets, it's just like a separate EP for ours called Trash Anthems. So 5 songs. It's very short, 5 minutes, and it's over. But that's cool. We recorded that at a place in Philadelphia that they do a lot of mixing for the blasting room. So we just went in. We just did that live real fast. It sounds cool. It sounds good. It's awesome too. Just 5 real quick songs. That's all we've done so far. We are now a 4-piece because the other guitarist, Wes, is now in the Huntingtons full time. Cool. And he's also in a band called the Super High Tech Jet Fighters. And it's 3 bands is too much for him. So now I just do 100% of the guitar and the stivs. And we're used to playing that live. It sounds great. We don't really need 2 guitars, and it's not a problem. I can handle all the guitar just fine. So it works out really, really, really great. He's absolutely awesome, and he's great in Huntington. So there's no loss for anything. It's real solid. But I definitely would love to have you check it out and give me your thoughts of it. I think it's really great. If you saw us live, it's even better because it's one of those bands. It's pure chaos the whole time. The presentation is nothing like the Huntingtons. You'd be shocked. Mm-hmm. It's one of those bands where, but I'm still downstroking the whole time too. But I've
seen some clips.
Yeah. In this band, I'm playing Gibsons the whole time.
Yeah.
And this is one of those bands where people listen with their eyes. So, it's that kind of a band.
Love that.
But that's it's real exciting, and we've got a really good fan base around here, and we do really well. It's very cool. So,
that's cool, man.
It's come a long way, so it's awesome. Anyway,
blah, blah, blah.
I've been talking forever. Christian, what's on your mind, man? we've been taking this all over from you, man.
You're hitting some realms. I'm like, I know nothing here. That's all right. But that's what's the joy of this kind of conversations is that sometimes you get to just sit and listen.
I told you I was an opinionated guy, though, and I just ramble, man. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. And Nate knows me pretty well. I'm a pretty opinionated dude, and I'm a pastor, and
Oh, right on, dude.
And I just love Jesus, and I've traveled 47 different countries preaching the gospel, and
that's awesome.
Twice. So I've had a weird, eccentric life. And I love when somebody has an eccentric life like yourself and willing to write about it. So
Yeah.
I'll throw this question out. Out of all the songs you've written, what song encapsulates who you are?
Oh goodness,
I know, I throw out the tough question.
man. I know there's a lot of different sides of me. So I also have another project called Johnny Walker and the Satisfaction. I don't know if you know about this, Nate. It's where
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
actually do all the vocals, and it's a
Yeah.
much more of a singer songwriter thing. It's kind of like 77s,
Ooh.
Lemonheads during their like 90s prime, when what's his name was a big rock star and got all the girls.
Evan.
Yeah.
Evan Dando.
Yeah. And kind of it's kind of like that probably, I'd say. But there's a song that yeah, I wrote it. The first album that I've put out is called 603, and it's all songs. I wrote it and recorded it as a wedding gift for my wife. So 603 is June 3rd. That's the day that I married Lena, my wife. And so every song, it's all about our relationship. So the songs that reference my ex-wife in a way that discusses where I've come from, but it's all hopeful and awesome, and it's about my wife. It's about our relationship. Because anyway, but it's really, really good, and I'm very proud of it. It's me singing, so it's just like whatever. But I'm definitely a better background vocalist than I am a lead vocalist. But there's a song I finally finished after I started writing it when I was 20 in college, and it's called "You Are God," and I love it. I love it to death, and that's probably just read the lyrics.
Yeah.
I think I love it. It just says, the chorus is, "You are God and I love you. You are God and I love you. Will you teach me what I need to know? You are God and I love you. You're God and I love you so. Ain't that the way it should be? You pick me up when I feel low. It's then you carry me. And oh my God, how you light my way, keeping my roads clear. And if you left for just one day, will I just disappear? Yes, you are God." And then the chorus. Second verse is, "Everywhere I go, there you are. Well, I'm so glad that's true. In the night sky, your blanket of stars as every day renews. And oh my God, how you love me so, always draw me near. They may say no, but you still show the truth in all that's here. Yes, you are God." So the truth in all that's here, that's referencing the fact that there will be no excuse, because the truth of God is seeing evidence in his creation. Where the Bible talks about all that. So I just love the Bible. I love the truth of the Bible. Obviously, a lot of my songs don't reflect that because I just love rock and roll, and I'm not. So I have kind of come to the point where I no longer am a big believer in Christian rock and roll per se, and this is why. I don't think that rock and roll is an effective tool of spreading the gospel. I have a very specific reason for this, and it's only this reason: because rock and roll is a look at me medium. I was at this is why I ended my band Mainline Riders that I had going for a little bit. In 2010, I was at Cornerstone, and I was in the it was the last year they had Cornerstone, I think, maybe, but I don't know. I was at Cornerstone, and we were Mainline Riders was playing, and I was in like it had shrunken a lot, and at this point, there was, I don't know, have you guys, either of you guys been to Cornerstone?
It's
No,
like
I always wanted to, but I never did get to go.
It's like the only festival I didn't play.
Okay.
And only when I wanted to play. But
I mean, Huntington's used to play there all the time. It was a big
Yeah.
deal, And the main stage, Huntington's never played the main stage. The biggest we ever got was the same stages that like MXPX used to always play. MXPX, and we used both us and MXPX used to play these stages where we'd be playing for like 5,000 people. It was huge, huge. People going crazy, awesome, just great. MXPX was bigger at Cornerstone than us, but we still got really, really big there. The biggest we got was in 2 days we sold over $10,000 in merchandise. That's how big we got there. Which I'm not trying to, that's not a bragging thing. I'm just trying to give you a scope of something. So that was in our heyday. But anyway, so I was there in 2010, Mainline Riders. We were a blip, nothing, but still, 2010 I was there, and I'm walking around, and I'm in the food court, and the food court was now where they had the main stage set up. So it was a lot smaller than it had used to be. But anyway, they had this big giant screen there, and they're playing this video of whatever was the big Christian rock band of the day. And they're walking around, and this is the official video of this Christian rock band. And the performer is walking around, and they're singing all these Jesus lyrics, and they're saying all the right words. But you look at the performer, and all the eyes, the eye movements, the body movements, and the facial expressions has nothing to do with the words that the person is singing. Because everything that person is saying, singing, and everything expression on their face is, look at me, I'm so cool. Don't you want to be me? Aren't I so awesome? And I started crying. And I broke up the band that day. And I said, I'm not doing this anymore. Now, I never felt called to Christian music, which I always felt fine with the Huntingtons always resisting. Like Brandon Evil at one point came up to me and said, can't you guys just talk about God even in just one song? We'll sell so many more records. And I said, that right there is why we don't want to do that. Right there, what you just said is why I don't want to do that. No, because the gospel is not for sale.
It's to be given away.
That's right. And the thing is when you try to, look, I'm not on the stage. So I play rock and roll because everything that we do, we should always want to do it to be the best of. Everything we do, we should do to the best of our ability. But rock and roll as a medium is a medium to be awesome. It's to be personally awesome. It's to strut around. It's Mick Jagger. It's Iggy Pop. It's to be freaking awesome. Nate Parrish, I was awesome when you saw me. I made you want to do it. Yeah. I made other people want to be in bands. There's nothing wrong with that. But off stage, I was kind. I would talk to anybody who would want to talk to me. I gave them my time. I'm still super approachable. I still will talk to anybody. That's who I am. And I don't do that because, I want to make a difference. I do that because that's who I am, because God wants me to reach out to people and always be available, because as a Christian, that's who I'm supposed to be. On stage, I'm supposed to be awesome. Because I'm a rock musician, I'm supposed to be awesome for as long as I can be awesome. But it's about me when I'm on stage. It's not about Jesus when I'm on stage. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I think you're approaching it from a honest standpoint, because I get you. I've been in the same world, the Christian music scene.
You can't be, you know what I'm saying? You can't. Because when you're selling rock and roll, it's the most boring. Like now, if you're not, it's why I cannot. Every time I've ever been asked to go, hey, can you come up here and do praise and worship? We want you to join the praise and worship team. I always have to say no. And that's because I know myself, because I can't go up there and be in a praise and worship team without performing, but without turning it even internally into, look at me. Oh, I wonder how I'm doing. I wonder what they think of me doing this. Because I've been doing it for so long, I'm going to have that mindset. I cannot do that because I'm going to be sinning if I do that. Because praise and worship is not about who's up there playing. It's about it's about these songs are bringing people to God. A really good praise and worship, I'm bawling my eyes out, worshiping God. It's amazing. But I won't be able to get there if I'm up there performing and if I'm up there playing and singing. I don't have that talent to do that, because that's not what my talent lies. My talent lies in performing, rocking and rolling. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
two different skill sets.
makes total sense. I don't. Someone was talking to someone. I said I don't believe in Christian rock, and they said, "Well, why not?" I was like, "Because Christians are people. The Christians are Christ followers.
Right.
Rock is a product. It's art. It's like saying, oh, I go to a Christian dentist. Well, no, you don't. You go to a dentist who hopefully is doing a good job and he's a Christian.
Yeah.
And
Now, if you're a band and your songs, but if you're like, so when I say Christian rock, I'm not talking about a band made up of Christians, and so your songs are going to be about faith-oriented things every once in a while, or even all the time, or whatever. But excuse me, you can't be a Christian ministry band who's up there, Ken Tamplin, prancing around, look at me, look at me, look at me, while singing about looking at Jesus, because that's not what you're doing. That's just not what you're doing, because every move that you're doing on stage is look at me. You're not looking at Jesus, and you're not actually telling anybody to look at Jesus. You're telling them all, with every move that you're doing and everything in your eye and everything that you're doing, to look at me. You're not telling them to look at Jesus.
Yeah.
It's a lie.
Yeah, there was a big I was in a band before, and I remember we had a conversation because we were like a worship band. So we actually led worship at church, and then we would play festivals. So we did creation and things like that. And I remember one of the members he was like, yeah, what we do is so much better than what literally it was referencing, I think it was referencing MXPX at the time, better than what they do, because they're just up there playing rock music, but we're doing worship. And I was like, first of all, these are not at odds, because like for you, I'll use you an example. I saw you and I was like, man, I wanted to do that. Nothing wrong with wanting to. I want to write music and be in a band. That's cool. But it was off stage, or even just like the last couple of years, talking to you on the phone, or you encouraging me about my music. That was Cliffy, right?
Hopefully I influenced you more with how you were going to be off stage, even.
Yes, you did. And that's my point, is that was cool, but it was the fact that Cliffy took the time, encouraged me, all that stuff. That to me was the bigger impact, and that had nothing to do with a guitar at all.
Right.
It was just you as a person, and so I think that's the focus. That even for me, I'll play shows and stuff, and I'm not like, all right, hold on, let me take 5 minutes to talk about Jesus because I have to, because I'm a Christian. But I'm like, hey, when you talk to me off stage, like, I'm going to be the same Nate that I'll be right here, and hopefully that Nate represents Christ well. But yeah, I heard you say this on an interview, and I thought it was really interesting. I really thought it was cool, your perspective on that.
What did I say something else at some time about how you can't
Yeah.
Christian rock and roll isn't real or something?
Yeah,
I did.
I was going to ask you about it, because I made like a little list, for questions, and I watched a podcast you did. I want to say it was like last year or something, and you said that in the interview, and I was like, that's pretty. And even the guy was interviewing you, he's like, man, that takes balls. I've never heard a guy say that before. And I was like, but no, he's right. He's being honest. Like, let's not kid ourselves. If we're going up there, it's like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I thought your perspective was really interesting.
But everything that we do in life, we should do. When we're going to our day job, we're earning money. We're not earning money for Jesus. We're earning money for ourselves to take care of our household, to raise our kids, everything else. But we also, we're interacting with other people. We still need to show Jesus in everything that we do. We absolutely do. So if we're acting like an idiot at work, we're not doing any good. Acting all holy at church on Sunday and acting like an idiot at work.
Well, and I'm glad you bring that up, because my issue with the Christian world is when you put that label, I'm a Christian rock star, whatever, but you put Christian up front, you're asking for people to keep you accountable, and that's the struggle I see is, like the Michael Tates of this world, that they weren't being held accountable, and we're to sweep it underneath the rug.
And worse is the industry was using him for money. And they purposefully were sweeping it, all of those horrible sins under the rug on purpose so they could keep making the money, further showing the fact that it was about money, never about the gospel. So it's an industry concerned about making money, and that's it.
And
there might be a few true believers in there in that industry. By and large, it's about making money. It's sad, man.
It is sad, but there are good people. I love working with them. And my big thing is I want to get to know people. That's why I'm like, I bring Nate a lot of things because I know him, I know his heart, and I trust him.
You know Nate from DC Talk?
No, I'm talking Nate Parrish.
Oh, Nate. Sorry. Yeah. What's the guy from DC Talk's name?
You're talking about Michael Tate?
Michael Tate. Oh, Tate.
I was like, wait.
I have stories about Michael before this all came out, where I was like, something's off about him. I'd done 2 interviews with him, and I was just, both times I went, something's not right, and I couldn't put 2 and 2 together, and it's just, to me, it's just one of the sad.
Even like all the pastors wearing $500 sneakers and all kinds of crazy stuff. Like it's just, dude. Yeah. They tell you where they're coming from miles away. You can see it.
Just believe them. Believe them when they tell you who they are. Yeah. Wow.
No, it's tragic, and we're now to the point where every pastor wants to be a pastor of a mega church, and it becomes about a cult of personality instead of Jesus. And we need to be about Jesus. We need to get back to discipleship. I think it's really sad.
I don't think you're serious about being a pastor if you're not willing to work a day job, personally.
That's true. I think that's there's something very true, but there's also, I don't think it's a pastor if you're unwilling to shake the hand of people coming into your congregation.
Right.
We've got this idea that you're up front, the front guy, you don't need to be with people, which doesn't make sense to me, because I read the scriptures and the pastor actually needs to be shepherding the sheep. And I've never seen a clean shepherd.
No, it's everything Jesus was talking about and castigating against in the New Testament, with all the Pharisees and Sadducees who cared only about their position. And the only people, Jesus never talked crap about the government or anybody in power about anything. He talked crap about the religious leaders. That's the only people he talked about. And you know what? Paul and Peter and any of those guys, and when they spent all the letters in the New Testament, guess who they're going on about? They're going on about the churches. They're talking. Have you guys ever spent? I assume you guys have spent time reading the New Testament, right? Straight through. Actually, straight through. Have you just read the New Testament straight through?
Yeah.
What I love about reading I've read the entire Bible. I've read the entire Old Testament one time straight through. I've read the Old Testament a lot, but I've read it straight through once, like straight through, even like Lamentations, like Deuteronomy, real tough. But but I read the entire word for word Old Testament once, and I've read the entire New Testament straight through 7 times. And what I love about reading the New Testament straight through is that you realize all the stuff that people in the modern day talk about, like, how we're evolving and everything, how much bunk that is. All you have to realize, all you have to do to realize for proof that is not true is read the New Testament. Because in the New Testament, and you see Paul talking to all the New Testament churches, and he's castigating them for the same crap that people today are doing in churches now. The same pride, arrogance, stupidity, and you drama bullcrap that they were doing then are the same stuff that we're doing now, which is just the same. The heart of man hasn't changed one bit. And if any of this stuff was true that people are saying now was true, as far as in the world that how erudite and smart and awesome we all are, if any of that was true, well, man, something written 2,000 years ago would be very antiquated and outdated and seem real charming now. But no, it reads like it's happening now, and we're writing it now because you know what I'm saying. So anyway.
Nothing new under the sun. Yep, you're right.
Exactly.
Buddy.
And another thing, and you go look at like a bust of like some Roman person, that somebody made of a Roman 5,000 years ago or 4,000 years ago, or just a bust of a head, and it looks exactly like somebody living today. No difference. No difference at all in 4,000 or 5,000 years. Zero difference. Okay, I'm going to stop. Evolution is definitely not true. Not at all.
Cliffy's going off, dude.
I know. This is, by hands down, will be my longest interview.
Well, you got us talking about Ramones, and that's going to take up a good, 30, 40 minutes. But hey, we love.
Hey, you know what? Something else we were talking about something earlier. I just want to say this real quick. I just want to leave you guys with this. Or we can talk for another 2 hours. That's fine with me. But I'll just say this, because we were talking about something earlier and made me think of this, but I didn't say it then. But I just want to say this real quick. A lot of the stuff that Christians get bogged down about really comes down to semantics. It really does. Because we talk about, this, and we talk about, that. We get people that go, once saved, always saved. Oh, no, they're not. You can walk away from it, blah, 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 blah. Well, I don't know, man. Because to me, I don't think the reality is that I don't think you can tell a real, true believer that you were once one of them, but no longer are. Because you see, a real believer will always tell you that, well, then you never really were. Because if you ever really were, then you still would be. Have you ever read, what is it? 2 John 2, is it 2 John 2:10? Is that it?
I'm looking it up.
2 John 2:10?
2 John 2:10.
Or maybe it's
Bible
1 John.
drill.
It's either first or maybe it's 1 John 2:10. Hold on.
It's a race. Hey, Christian, you have a physical Bible there?
Yes, I do. Come on, I'm a pastor.
There you go. I know, bro.
The one who loves his brother abides in the light.
No.
There's no cause for stumbling in him.
No, it's 1 John 2:19. They went out from us, but they did not really belong to us. For if they had belonged to us, they would have remained with us. But their going out showed that none of them belonged to us.
Oof. And that's a very painful verse to me, because I've had dear friends. I think it's silly we call it deconstruct.
Yes.
Which I think is one of the lamest terms ever created. It grieves me to see who I thought I knew, and it's not. And
no, because look, no matter how fervent they ever thought they were or whatever, all them going out from us proves is they never were of us. And the thing is all it proves is that they were just part of a scene. It proves that they were part of something that made them feel good. But you cannot see the things to come and then say, oh, what was I thinking? You can't. It's not possible. Because here's the thing. What good is salvation if you wind up in hell?
Yeah.
Salvation is a permanent condition. Salvation is what does salvation save you from if you don't go to heaven? It doesn't make any sense. What? Oh, well, I was saved for a while. What were you saved from then?
Mm.
You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why a true believer will always say, then you were never really saved. Because if
Yeah.
you were really saved, you'd still be here.
Yeah. Mm.
So that's why I say it's semantics. You know what? Whatever you want to call it once saved, always saved. Call it, you don't have a choice, or you don't have free will. Call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Because in the end, you either go to heaven or you go to hell. And if you were saved, you go to heaven. If you weren't, you don't go to heaven.
Yeah.
And there's levels, because there's a lot more that's offered when you get saved than simply escaping fire.
Right.
There's a
Well,
whole lot of awesomeness about salvation.
and that's one of the things, and this is a passion of mine, because being an evangelist, being a pastor, is that we make Christianity into fire insurance when actually
Right.
it's an in-depth relationship
Oh,
with our God. Jesus
yeah.
died not for us to be loosely talking to God, but actually having a genuine relationship with God. And that's why he tells us, go and make disciples. That you end up doing life together, and you're actually digging in deep, not this shallow. I was interviewing two guys from Uganda yesterday, and they said in Uganda, Africa, in Gulu, there's the churches are 1,000 miles long but an inch deep, and uh, that's the tragic thing is they said that about their country, but how much of that is here? How much depth do we truly go into the Word of God? I know suddenly went from the Ramones to in-depth
Yeah.
theology, but uh, that's where one of my greatest passion lies. Is that when did we stop investing in each other? When did we stop going, hey, I want to dig in the Word of God with you. I want to see your life radically changed by the Word of God. I want to cry with you. I want to laugh with you. I want to do punk rock with you. I want to do life. And
Yeah, so 56 years old. I will be 57 in November. And I cannot attribute this to anything else other than my salvation. I got saved when I was 11. I got saved for real when I was 11. I walked up to an altar at Bible camp, got on my knees. I raced to the altar on my knees at Bible camp, bawled my eyes out, gave my heart to the Lord for real. It wasn't like some superficial things. For real, got saved. I've been saved ever since. And the thing is, for me, I am, and I still have a huge passion for life. Like, I almost think of myself like for real, almost like vampiric in the sense that I don't think I'm gonna in 10 years. In 10 years, I'm gonna be going on 70 years old, fellas. That's just in 10 years. In 10 years, I will be 3 years and we're in August. So August, September, August, right? September. Yeah. September, October, November. So in 3 years and 3 months, in 3 years and 3 months, I will be 10 years from 70. So I'm 13 and 3 years away from being 70 years old. And I don't think when I hit 70 in just 13 years that I will be suddenly lost passion for life. I have a total lust for life still. And I don't know very many people my age like this. And I don't know if it's the way I'm built or if it's my salvation, but I think it's my salvation. I think
I would
God
agree.
made me like this, and I think God has made me this way since I got saved. I don't. I'm the only one of my brothers and sisters this way. And so yeah, I think there's a lot more. I think there's things being on this earth, running after God, and living the life that He has for you. There's a lot more than just fire insurance, for sure. For
amen.
being
So, Cliffy needs my battery is almost dead on my phone.
I'm sorry I kept going so long, guys.
Well,
No,
This is
never
like
apologize for
five
that.
interviews or something.
This was an incredible interview.
What was on that tour? Mikey wasn't with you guys. Who was the vocalist?
That was his name was Matt Kirkley, and he went by Marty Huntington.
Okay, yeah, I remember. I was like, "What the heck is this guy?" He was great.
Yeah, he was.
I actually thought I was like, "He's pretty good. Good stage presence."
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, and
cool.
a guy named Josh, he went. What did he call him? Our drummer, who was really good at the time too. His name was Josh Zimmer, but he went by Danny. His middle name was Daniel, and so he went by Danny because we always had to have those names like that. So.
You got to have the names, bro. Man, so cool. Are you guys doing any? You guys have any shows on the horizon?
We're playing at Mom's Basement Fest coming up in the fall here in a few months. We're taking some time off the next few months. We're actually going to be writing a new album this fall. But Our drummer, his kid's playing a bunch of sports stuff over the next few months. He doesn't want to miss any games, so he already asked us, "Hey, he's the guy who books most of our shows. He's like, guys, I'm not going to book much in the next few months. I don't want to miss any of Vinny's games." And we're like, "That's cool." And Mike said, because we've been busting on Mike for a while, saying, "We got it. Let's make another album, man." And Mike's lost a bunch of weight. He looks really good, and he's gotten in shape. And so we're just like, awesome. And he's finally got to the point where he's just like, let's make another album. So we're gonna be working on a new album this fall. So
awesome, dude. Good to hear, man.
Writing. So we'll probably record in the spring. I probably